Hello, Abraham. I just want to start by thanking you so much for your guidance and your teachings has helped me so much through the years. I'm an entrepreneur, and it's what I have to do. I feel very well placed in that. And through the years, I've been in business for 15 years, 16 years, and I've created different businesses to kind of ebb and flow with the economy, with the, economical climate. And it's worked very, very well.
Do you think you created them, or do you think the economic climate inspired them?
Can I say both?
You can, but
Yeah.
we'd like to put the emphasis on the inspiration.
Okay. I love being...
In other words, when an idea comes to you, that's inspiration. When an idea just comes, that's inspiration. And it's because you've created enough of an emotional grid that now you are a recipient of an idea that you can then move forward on.
Very true. Very, very true. And that happens a lot for me, and I feel really fortunate that I feel really in touch with that.
Good.
Like I really can create. And so here's the thing. The
reason that we're nitpicking here is because we want you to understand that you did the creation when you were sifting and sorting through the contrast. In other words, that's when the creation happens. It's in the asking that the creating happens. When you're asking for solutions, that's when the creation happens. The inspiration is the allowing it to come into being. And so when you say I'm a really good creator, we want you to realize that mixing it up and sifting through contrast is creating all kinds of stuff for all kinds of people. Everybody's a really good creator, but most people are not very good allowers of what they have created. Most people just get in their way because they don't understand what part to play at what phase of the unfolding. So what we're wanting to lay out for you all here today is that the contrast, you don't have to go looking for it. It will show itself to you, and it will cause you to create this vortex of what you would call potential in terms of manifestation, and we are calling it now reality in terms of emotion. If you can accept the now reality of the way it feels and just keep enhancing the vibration of that, then the details will fill in ever so much more quickly than they have been for most of you. Did that make sense to you?
It makes sense, and I feel like I'm living proof of that. I really kind of get that. Like I actually have come to a place where like I'm experiencing contrast, and it has kind of become a good thing because
it is a good thing.
It is a good thing.
It stirs
right.
me up. It makes me think. It makes me get my ego involved. It makes me focus. It makes me ask questions. It makes me put things in the vortex that source energy, and all that I have known, that all have my back, are lining up with. In other words, that's what we mean when we say the creation is in place long before you allow it. And we just want to put the question out to you, what's taken you so long to allow it? And we think it's that you don't understand what the creative process is. You're not reveling in every contrasting moment. You're not reveling in the competition that makes you want more. You're not reveling in the other side of the political aisle that makes you think in a stronger way. You're not reveling in it. Instead, you're crumbling under it. You're criticizing it. You're not just you, but most everybody. You're using it as your excuse not to line up. When you start reveling in the competition, when you start reveling in the contrast that is causing the creation to be there in advance, these creations are already there. They're there. Now what you're doing is feeling for the inspiration, and that's the part you're calling creation. You're calling it creation when the idea occurs to you. We're calling it creation long before that feeling comes over you. That feeling of inspiration is your first step of allowing what you've already created to come into fruition. And what we're trying to get across to you is that if you can hear this, having more fun at every phase along the way, because it's a sure thing that you're going to get to where you want to be. But where you want to be isn't to that end result. Where you want to be is in this moment, feeling this way on your way to where you want to be. Because life is just a series of moments of feelings and moments of feelings and moments of feelings and moments of feelings and moments of feelings, isn't it?
In running my business and in all of that, okay, I'll get here's what I'm putting out is that I really feel I feel like I've tapped into the law of attraction and the law of allowing. I really, I feel I found great love, and I share a wonderful relationship with the most wonderful woman in the world, and I have I love life. It's fun, It's just everything. I'm happy and excited and passionate and healthy. Like all the things that I can allow. I understand the law of allowing and having that be all part of me. And so my thing is I don't understand my resistance and allowing in financial abundance and all of this. I'm kind of running. I don't get it. It's something. It's a resistance that comes up, and every time I start doing really well, I have to deal with this again. And I feel like everything else that I have allowed that is attracted to me are things I can really manage. I can manage my happiness and my love and my health, but that thing that's so tangible, that's like so close, and yet.
But what we're saying to you is, if you will just manage your love, if you will just manage that emotion that you can manage, and stop messing around with the stuff that you think you can't manage. When you stop messing around with it, the vibration of it not working will dissolve within you, and then the grid will fill in with the abundance that you're seeking. It's that feeling that I can't get it, and so I have to keep after it, that keeps that vibration active within you, which is preventing what you want from coming. But there's a contradiction, because you said to us, I can manage the love.
I can allow it, and I can allow the happiness and the joy and the fun.
As it relates to what?
To me and my life and how I live it.
Generally spoken and good, but what except for this one area?
Yes, it is just that one area.
So what we're saying is, if you could stop talking and thinking about that one area, you wouldn't keep it active.
I feel like I have sometimes stopped talking about it, but I don't know how to completely let go of it. That is why I'm here. I mean, that's what I'm asking.
Why? Because money matters, because money is evident in every day, because it's on my mind, because bills come, because I live in a physical world where I have to eat physical food and pay physical rent and so on. So you have to find a way to make those conversations more general and less specific, because they are specific and not working. So you've got to make them specific and working, but you can't go from specific and not working to specific and working. So you have to go from specific to general. So tell us how you generally feel about finances.
Stressed.
All right. So, and you know that stressed is evidence of resistance. And so you've pinpointed that there's an emotional grid that is filling in with things that equal stress. And you want to change the emotional grid from a stressful one to a better feeling one. So try to go from the general feeling of stress to the general feeling of relief. Try to do that in some way, with some conversation, with some approach. I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing all right. I stress more than I need to. I make bigger deals out of things than I need to.
And I feel...
You're following the theme here?
Yes. And I sincerely do feel all is well. And always will be. Like, I do feel it's...
Well, now you're getting a little more specific than you're ready for, so just stay in that general thing. Things have always worked out. I always find a way. I get ideas that come. I'm making too much of this. Things in my life are generally working out. Other areas of my life are working out really well. I'm getting it in regard to that, or in regard to that, or in regard to that. I eventually will get it in regards to this. I don't have to figure it out right now. I don't have to fix anything right now this red hot minute. I'm just wanting to produce a feeling of relief. A feeling of relief is what I'm reaching for right now, because a feeling of relief is a feeling of less stress. And so I can do this just with my words to myself, just by choosing a quiet tone, or maybe by going and laying in the water of the ocean, or maybe by laying in on the beach, or maybe by looking at the landscape, or maybe by listening. There are lots of things I do that just relax me. I'm now understanding that my dominant intention is to find some relief. It's not my dominant intention right now to find work. It's not my dominant intention to find some way of bringing more money. It's not my dominant intention to do all those things. That's too specific. My dominant intention right now is to find some way of feeling some relief. And so I'm talking myself into it. I'm using a sort of cadence. I'm reminding myself that all is well. I'm going to breathe some more. I'm going to get into a better feeling place. I don't have to fix it this red hot minute. There isn't anything that's really broken anyway. Everything's working out all right for me. I'm beginning to feel some relief. It's beginning to feel a little bit funny to me. I don't know why I was making such a big hairy deal out of it anyway. There isn't anything that has ever come out of stress anyway. Every time I've ever been stressed, it got a lot worse before it got better. And the only reason that it ever started to get better was because I took a nap, or I chilled out in some way, or I changed the subject, or I changed businesses. I moved to a whole other arena where I approached it in a whole other way. I changed the subject. I got less specific, and every time I got less specific, things got better. And so that's what my goal is here, to get less specific and to get feeling better. Now you're feeling better already, aren't you? Aren't you feeling better?
I am feeling better already.
You're feeling better. It doesn't feel like it felt when you first sat down. And so now you're feeling a little better. You've got that general feeling of well-being. If you wanted to, you could get more specific if you wanted to. We wouldn't for a while. We'd just enjoy the feeling of well-being. We would say things like, well, now I'm expecting that the grid will fill in with some more obvious things, and I don't want to try to dictate how it happens, but I am going to enjoy watching it beginning to happen. There's nothing more exciting. Oh, here's something really good. So, you know how when you make up your mind about something, maybe you think you got a psychic hit on something, or maybe you just came to a conclusion. Politicians do it all the time. So do scientists. Anyone who spends a lot of time thinking about things, is a very common thing that they come to a conclusion about something. They come to conclusions about things wanted, and they come to conclusions about things not wanted. And then they revel in the evidence that supports the conclusion that they've come to. We think that is just the funniest thing that you do. You come to a conclusion of something that you don't want, and then you celebrate every time you see evidence that supports this thing you don't want. And you go, aha, I knew it. And we say, aha, you're creating it. You're creating it. So what you want to do is create this feeling of well-being, and then watch for the evidence that supports it. And when you see it, aha, I knew it. I felt that coming. I knew that was coming, you see. Yeah. There are so many people out here on the manifested edge, sifting through the details of what's manifested and getting into that state of confusion that we were talking about earlier, where it's so much simpler to work at the basis of the general basis of the emotion that you want to feel. And friends, it's got to be easier than you're making it, because every single thing that you want, no matter what it is, material object, a pile of money, a relationship, a circumstance or an event, a movement in the political arena, everything that you want, no matter what, without exception, always has been, always will be, for one reason. You think you will feel better when it happens. You think you will feel better. And if we can just convince you here today that you have the power within you to conjure the feeling better now before it happens, to not need it to happen before you conjure the feeling of it, that you can get general enough to find the essence of the feeling of what you want, you will have created a vibrational grid that will fill in with the details to support what you have accomplished every time. And that's what deliberate creation is at its best. Now, there's nothing wrong with creating stuff you don't want, because how do you know what you do want if you don't create some of what you don't want? How do you know that you want more money flowing until you've really experienced some shortage? How do you really know that? How do you know who you like to hang around with until you've hung around with some that you've really not enjoyed all that much? How do you know? How do you know what you like to eat until you've eaten around enough to know what tastes good to you? You get to define all of that. We're not trying to get you to go in one direction or another on anything. We just want you to know that you have enough contrast around you, enough variety, enough buffets on enough different subjects, that you have already very well established. You've determined clearly who you are and what you want, and that resides in a vibrational vortex that is calling you. But you can't get to the specifics of that magnificent vortex if you are vibrationally out of whack.